Hi class, my name is Sarah Macias, and as a millennial, I'm so intrigued on research and articles regarding the matter. So it was a no-brainer that I chose an article regarding how 20-somethings are embracing a Christian view of vocation, but not because of the church. I find that really interesting because I know in some of my classes, I think I took the Christian Cornerstone class, and we talked about how like people have values that resemble Christian values, but they don't believe in God, but they still have morals, and they kind of like overlap like with Christian beliefs. They just wouldn't title them Christian, they would just call them their beliefs. So I find that interesting because it's not the first time I've heard of something like this. The article consisted of studies done by the Barn Group, which we'll get to, and David Kim, who is a pastor in New York. Kim says that 20-somethings today value hope and change, adventure, meaningful, and fulfillment. He also reports that when it comes to work, 20-somethings today are thoughtful about choosing a career, as they tend to career hop until they find like the perfect fit, and then serious, passionate, and ambitious. They prioritize getting married and starting a family, which is not always seen as a good thing. It shows they are serious about their careers. They prioritize work over those things, and then they're not defined by their jobs. So I think those two are kind of contradicting, to prioritize work over personal life. And then he says they do not define their job. They're not defined by their job, even though 20-somethings are enthusiastic about work. About 31 say that a career is essential to their identity, which I find so interesting regarding this book. There was like a passage of obviously like identity and how people, let's see, I'll just skip down to this. It says, what this tells me is that much more than I usually care to acknowledge, my identity is based on what I do, not who I am. And I think it's crazy because our first question in our introduction to this class was, what is your occupation? Mind blown, right? Okay, so I'm going to go down to the Barn Group because I'm going to try to keep this under 5, and it's already 2:30. So Barn Group research found that on an overwhelming 87% of millennials surveyed, they want to find a lifelong of meaning, full of meaning. And then they also say 20-somethings today, get this, they strive to live it out in every area of their lives, especially in their careers. So the meaningfulness, everybody wants meaning. And I know somebody who just quit, like they worked at Cedars-Sinai, they just quit that great job to be a personal trainer because that is what he thinks his meaning is. And it's just people are taking the plunge, and they're just risking it all to find their personal meaning. Okay, so one of my references was the Pew Research Center. While millennials are not as religious as older Americans by some measures of religious observance, they are as likely to engage in spiritual practices. So I think that kind of ties everything in regarding the topic. 20-somethings are embracing Christian view of vocation, but not because of the church. So then I'm going to fast forward and try to talk about this really quick. This book, The Blueprint for Successful Career, is a foundation for developing young professionals. When you first Google this book, it literally says for millennials, which is crazy. And then I included some diagrams that I really appreciated. Diagram 1 shows a Venn diagram illustrating the interconnected relationships between what you do and what you go about doing. And then let's find it. This one. And then diagram 2 is an illustration of yin and yang slid into the center of a Venn diagram, represented in the diagram I just showed you guys, this one up here. And then diagram 3, the great I am, or purpose and what it means to be paid in full. The visual shown in the diagram objectifies the principle that 2 heads are better than 1, especially when they are on the same idea. They are on the same side. Thus why territory is solidified as the intersection of influence between what you do and what matters of how you do it. Okay, 5 minutes. Bye.